Good morning. We are jumping into one of my favorite units, and that is the energy unit. So what we are going to do today is we're just going to dip our toe in and just kind of get an overall view of what we're talking about when we talk about energy. What is energy? Are there different types of energy? How do we know what type of energy a certain thing is, or if there's energy in a thing? So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is a KWL chart. And basically that's a fancy name for this chart that you're going to fill out today. For the K part, you're going to write in what you know. So in here, you would write in at least 4 different things that you know about energy. And that can be anything. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different because we all know different things. And it's not necessarily important that everything is 100% correct or that you are super knowledgeable about energy because we haven't learned about it yet. So you're just going to do your best and you're going to tell me what you know about energy. Maybe what the word means, maybe some guesses about different things. And then the middle part, the K part, the W part. The W part is what you want to know. So these are questions that you would have. You're going to write in several questions. You need to have about 4 or 5 questions that you have about energy. So this could be things that you're not sure of, maybe questions about what we might explore, things that you want to know. And then L is what we learned. And so we'll come back at the end of today and fill in the different things that we learned, maybe answers to these questions. We'll go here, or maybe new things that we didn't even know that we were going to learn. So again, what you know, what you want to know, and then at the end you come back and fill in what you have learned about energy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is read a little bit, because reading is almost for sure the best way to learn. I say all the time that readers are the smartest people. And so it's important that we read not only when we are in English class with Miss Tucker, or during specific reading times, but it's important that we read everywhere. And so we will be reading in science often because it's so important. Anyway, so you have a passage about energy, and I will read it with you. It says, energy is everywhere. It is all around us. It's in your house, your school, your car, and even in the breeze. The definition of energy is the ability to do work. That's important. I would highlight it or underline it, whatever. But the definition of energy is the ability to do work. Energy makes things happen. Potential energy is stored inside of something when it is not being used. Once the object is in motion, it becomes kinetic. Some forms of energy are light, sound, and heat. These can occur naturally by wind and sun or through electricity. Energy sources can be renewable, which is a form of energy that is better for the earth. Non-renewable energy is from fossil fuels that come from the earth. Non-renewable energy resources cannot be replaced, but renewable resources can. Then you have a couple of questions at the bottom, right here. And it says, what are the 3 forms of energy? They're listed in there. What is energy? Remember, I pointed it out. What is energy? 3, explain the differences between kinetic and potential energy. Okay, and then on the next page, it looks like this. What we're going to do is talk about the different types of energy and just kind of nail down what does that mean, what does it look like type of thing. So the first box asks you to identify 3 forms of energy. And what you're going to do is tell 3 forms of energy that you learned about in the passage. And so you can talk about heat energy, light energy. What other one did we learn about? Trying to see. We talked about, sound energy is the other one that we talked about. So heat, light, and sound. And then we're going to talk about examples of those. So what are some examples of heat energy? If you've ever sat around a campfire, that would be heat energy. Your oven is heat energy. A match would be heat energy. A toaster. Anything that is warm or has heat energy. Or let's say if your hands are warm and you put them on your face and you can feel the warmth, there's heat energy inside of your body. So there's tons and tons of different examples of heat energy, and I want you to write in a couple of different ones that you can think of, or maybe ones that I have mentioned. And then light energy. Some examples of light energies are light bulbs, a lamp, a computer screen, a flash on a camera, a TV uses light energy. The sun gives off light energy and heat energy. Anyway, so light energy, there are a couple of examples for you to write in there. And then sound energy. We have sound energy right now as I'm talking. That is sound energy. A drum is a good example of sound energy. A television also has sound energy. What else? Music from a radio, or I guess y'all don't use radios anymore, from a phone, or however else you listen to your music these days, showing how old I am. Those are all examples of sound energy. Explain the difference between kinetic and potential energy. That's your second one. And if you remember from the passage that we read, it tells you that kinetic energy is energy in motion. So anything that is moving or activated and going, that is kinetic energy. Potential energy is energy that is stored. So let me grab a rubber band real quick. I forgot to bring it over here. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so potential energy would be energy stored inside of my rubber band. So when I'm pulling it back, that is kinetic energy. When I'm holding it like this, there's a lot of potential energy, right? There's the potential that it'll fling off of my thumb and shoot across the room, or just hit my thumb really hard. But this is potential energy, and whenever I let it go, that is kinetic energy. So potential energy is stored energy waiting to happen, and then kinetic energy is when it's moving and it's in motion and it is actually happening. Okay, so you're going to explain the difference here, talking about how they are different. And then you're going to talk about renewable resources and non-renewable resources. There's some information over these two different types of energy resources in the book that I read, you guys, not long ago. But we kind of just talked about how most of the time we are using non-renewable resources to power our electricity, our cars, all of those things. Usually that's the source of our power, where it comes from. And we talked about how that is formed is that long time ago, when there were plants and animals on Earth, they died and they got covered up over time with different layers of dirt and sand and rock and water, and then more sand and dirt, and over time, with pressure and heat and a whole lot of time, those animals and plants turned into coal and natural gas and petroleum. And now we drill down into the earth and we pull all of those non-renewable fossil fuels out of the earth, and we use them to make electricity. We usually are burning them, like when we put gas in our car, we burn it, and that's what gives our car power. We also, like coal power plants, they burn the coal, and that's what they use to make electricity, is that energy that's made through burning the coal. But as you could assume or put together, that eventually we will run out. There's only so much of that, of those fossil fuels that are available, and it takes a super, super long time for them to be created. And so it's not like we can go out and just get more. Eventually we're going to run out. And so that's why they're called non-renewable, is because they don't replenish themselves or make more of themselves in a timely manner, and so eventually we're going to run out and we can't just have more. Renewable energy sources, that is talking about the sun, water, wind. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Those are renewable because there's always more. It's not hard to make more, and it's not that we are going to run out of it. Usually these energy resources are cleaner and better for the environment. You've probably heard adults talking about fossil fuels and global warming and all of those things. That's kind of a connection of what we're talking about when we talk about renewable resources and non-renewable. So when we do use solar energy, there's always going to be enough sunlight. It replenishes itself. It's not going to run out, and so it's renewable. When we use water, we're not going to run out of water. It will replenish itself, and so it's a good option because there's always going to be more. And then wind is the same way. We're not going to run out. It replenishes itself, and it's something that is constant and not going to end. And so that's why it's called a renewable resource. Okay. After you get all of those things filled in, you are going to go back and tell me what you have learned in this box. Okay? I want you to take your time and make sure that you're understanding what you are writing in, what you are learning, because this is something that you will use for the rest of your school experience. So I want to make sure that you understand it and that you're able to store that in your wonderful, beautiful brains. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have an amazing Wednesday. I'll talk to you later.